From Handmade After Dark. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia, and it is Tuesday night, so it is time for my weekly online class to go. So if you're new to my channel or my Facebook page, welcome. Each week on Tuesday nights I do a live video. We make 3 cards usually using a featured Stampin' Die or Stampin' Punch bundle. Occasionally it'll be a separate product that is featured. But if you place an order of $75 or more, and that's before shipping and after any Stampin' Rewards are redeemed, before the end of Saturday night, I will send you the kits to make 2 each of the 3 cards from this week's class. So you'll get all the cardstock, designer series paper, any ribbon or twine, any die cuts that are not part of the featured bundle are included. Any die cuts that are part of the featured bundle are not included. You get the cardstock or designer series paper, but you'll need to die cut those yourselves because usually they're stamped and then die cut images. So as a general rule, I don't include those just because it makes it easier for you if you're using something different. So this week's featured bundle is the Lily of the Valley bundle. And I'll switch my camera around and show you the projects for this week. There we go. So these are the 3 cards for this week, and this is the stamp set from the featured bundle. So this bundle is part of a larger suite. So I have used the designer series paper and the gems from this suite as well. So you've got the stamp set, which has got the images and a whole bunch of sentiments, and then for the die cuts, and I'll open these up so you can see them a little bit better. You've got die cuts for all the stamped images, and then you've got some separate die cuts that you can use on their own, so they don't need any stamping. So that's that one. And I've used the paper, which is the Valley and Bloom paper, on all of these. So that is all part of the suite. So we will start with this one. Alrighty, so this one I've used a basic beige card base. And before I forget, for those who do place an order to get the kits, you also get the PDF tutorials as well. So that's got all the products, the measurements, and the written instructions as well. And then of course you've got the video to help if you need as well. So basic beige for the card base, some cardstock for the sentiment, couple of pieces of designer series paper, some more Blackberry Bliss cardstock, and then I have die cut my images, or so the flowers, the leaves, this little crosshatch one, and I did actually remember to use adhesive sheets for once. So it definitely makes it much easier for these kinds of die cuts to have adhesive sheets. And I've used 2-tone for the, I don't need 3 of those, but I've got 3. But I used 2-tone for the leaves, so you can go with either have lighter or darker, or you can die cut one of each from the one piece of cardstock, which is very, very handy. All right, let's start putting this together so we don't have quite so many pieces lying around. And hopefully my comments section is working properly this week. I am pretty sure I know what went wrong last week, so hopefully it's all okay this week. Alrighty, so this one we're just going to put straight down on the card base and just straighten it up. Oops. And then this one, so this one just has a border top and border side to side. Top and bottom is the same as the cardstock. Don't know why I put the lid back on my adhesive, really didn't need to do that. Still need to clean up my desk and surrounding area from the online global retreat on the weekend. It's still looking even messier than it normally does. Still haven't quite got to that yet, so I'm feeling even more cramped. Alright, and then once that's down, let's just double check and make sure it's the right length. It is. So then we can adhere this one down. Okay. So we can just adjust that slightly to make sure it's aligned properly, top and bottom. So it should be the same as the DSP that you put down earlier. Alrighty, let's put that to the side for the moment and do some stamping and colouring. So I have 3 basic beige squares. These are from Stylish Shapes, and we are going to stamp the small flower image. I'm using Secret C for this, but you can also use Memento Black. That works just as well. And so you just want to turn these squares so that they're in a diamond, because they're going to sit in a diamond shape on your card. And we're just going to try and get a decent amount of the image in your squares, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And they don't have to be identical either. And one more. Alrighty. That is that done. And now we are going to colour these. So we will start with the leaves. And this is one where I'm using a little more than I normally do. Actually, I'm going to just move that out of the way. I'll bring it back in a bit, but for the moment, so normally I tend to use just one color and use the light and dark. This one I am going lemon lime twist, granny apple green, and a little bit of pretty peacock. So start with the lights. Oops, throw them around. That is light lemon lime twist, light granny apple green. And I'm going to start with, I'm going to do the two lights in the Granny Apple and the Lemon Lime Twist on all three first, and then we will switch to the next color. It's just a little quicker, and it's okay to leave a little bit of white space with these ones, or beige space. It's not quite white. So the light Lemon Lime Twist is going to have the most coverage, and then sort of reducing how much as you sort of work your way through. But if you don't have all those colors, just use what you do have. So if you've just got Granny Apple Green, then just use the light and dark Granny Apple Green. Try and add a little bit of shading, bit of contrast. Alright, that's the light one's done. Then we will go to the darks. That one's Granny Apple Green and the Lemon Lime Twist. So I'm going with the Lemon Lime Twist first. And I'm not too fussed if it's not super well blended just yet, because I'm going to go over everything at the end with the light Lemon Lime Twist, and that will blend everything in. Alrighty. Hi Renee, how are you? Okay, on to the Pretty Peacock. I'm only using the light Pretty Peacock, and we are just using a little bit at the top and bottom of each, so we don't need a whole heap, and then we'll just blend everything in, coming back over with the Lemon Lime Twist, and just leave a little bit of almost white space. Alrighty, oh, let's add a little bit more down there, and last one for the leaves at least. Alright, that will do for that. Then we will come back in for the flowers with a little bit of light fresh freesia. I'm good, Renee, but still recovering from the retreat on the weekend. Given all the different time zones, I didn't get a lot of sleep. but it was good fun. It's always good fun. Alright, so we're just adding a bit of the fresh freesia there, and I forgot my white gel pen, so we do need, now you can leave these as they are, but I am going to come in with the white gel pen. It just makes them pop a little bit more, but this part is totally optional. I do really like these gel pens. They work really well. Alrighty, one more to go. So just a little bit of fresh freesia, and then we come back in underneath with the gel. Alrighty, that should be enough, I think, without sticking my head right over the middle. Alrighty. That will do for those. Now we will bring in the Blackberry Bliss cardstock, and we'll just adhere these. Okay, first one. Oops. This is why I do like the liquid glue. You've got time to move it around if you don't get it quite right. Let's just bring that down. Seems to be more. That's better. And last one. Okie dokie. Alrighty. Now I need two of the leaves, but I also need one of these. I don't need both of them, and I don't need lots of leaves, so they can go up there. We just need, now you can leave this flower as it is, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to add a little bit of fresh freesia to the flowers and some Granny Apple Green to the stem. Probably need to cut off the bottom of the stem just so that it fits properly, because it'll overhang otherwise. I will just quickly color these. but this is totally optional. Alrighty, that will do. Okay, so let's pull that out. Let's bring the card base back in. Alrighty, so let's just line this up first. So we want to try and keep reasonably even distance top to bottom. That one will sit over here. This right hand side one is going to be popped up on dimensionals. This will sit underneath, and then the leaves are going to sit about there. So I think we are looking pretty good. Maybe just bring this down a touch. So I think that's about right. Okay, so I did actually use adhesive sheets. This is going at the bottom. And adhesive sheets make it so much easier. Plus, it's very easy to move them. So I'm going to stick that first part. Get my finger out from underneath, stick that one down, bring these back in, make sure it's all looking as we wanted. Alrighty, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to glue one down. Alrighty, so let's move that out of the way slightly. That is going to sit there. Now that we've got that one in place, that makes everything so much easier. So we can move these slightly. So leaves are going to sit about there. So let's get those down. I don't have adhesive sheets on these, which would have been a good idea, but oh well. I don't. So just be careful with, particularly with the liquid adhesive with these ones, because they do have all the little cuts. If you add too much, if I can even get mine out, it will ooze out the side. So I'm just trying to spread out what's already on there, because there will be other things over the top that are going to help hold them down, so it's not a massive issue if it doesn't have heaps of adhesive on it. But you know me, I need things to be well and truly stuck, and the stuff that is going to be covered doesn't matter so much if you do have a bit of adhesive oozing out, because it's going to be covered. But if you can, absolutely use adhesive sheets for these. And also this flower adhesive sheets would have been good. So we absolutely need to trim this one down. So if that sits there, we just trim a bit of, well, quite a bit really, doesn't matter too much, it's all going to be hidden. Trim that down so that can sit there. You can pop this one up on dimensionals if you wish. Just pop some on the flowers. And we'll just get a little bit on the stem. Try and go for the any parts of the stem that are just slightly thicker as much as possible for the adhesive. Just gives you a bit more space. Alrighty, so that should be fine there. We'll just gently press that down. Bring this one back in, make sure everything is still working as expected. That looks fine. Let's get this top one down. So point to point for this one, and just be mindful that you've got lots of bits and pieces underneath and slightly different surface heights, so just press everything down carefully. And then this one we are going to pop up on dimensionals. Lots of dimensionals. There we go. Add the backings to the pile on the floor. Alright. This one comes over here, just line it up with the other two. Alrighty, and then we will stamp our sentiment in Blackberry Bliss. And bring in the three banner punch. And you want to leave a bit of space at the end, at each end, so that we've got a bit of room for embellishments. And I think that's probably tiny bit further in on this one, and I'll adjust it ever so slightly so the it's just a tad higher. That's better. Not perfect, but doesn't have to be perfect. And we'll just trim those ends off to make a point, and then we will do the same with the Blackberry Bliss. And let's just see how much space we have on this one. So we don't want to go too far on the other side. It's quite small actually. So let's try and get this right. At least as best we can. We can go a tiny bit further with this one. Just a little. That looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. Trim off the ends. And then we just double check. Make sure it's about right. That looks good. I'm happy with that. Put that to the side for the moment. Oops, bit of adhesive on this one. Let's just get that on and slide it down. Alrighty, that is good to go. Alrighty, now we are popping this one up, but remember this one is already popped up on dimensionals, so we only want dimensionals on one end, and then we'll just add some adhesive to the other. Just watch that you're not covering the flowers there. Can we go a little further across? I think we can. Just a touch. Alrighty, then we will bring in, of course it's the one at the very bottom of my pack. Or actually, is it? No, I think it was the second one. Second one. Put all these back in. So we will tie a double bow with this one. Let's make that just a little bit longer. That I will struggle to get that into a bow. We will be here all night. That looks better. Okay. Let's just tidy that up. And we want it to be a fairly small one, so we don't want too much. Don't want too much bow, just a little. So yeah, that looks about right. We'll just trim off the ends. And grab out some glue dots. And just roll up or squish the glue dot a little so it's a bit smaller, and we'll pop that at the corner of the sentiment there. And then we just need, actually we need to do the insert. Where did my insert go? I didn't. Did I not put one in? Or did I take it out and have misplaced it already? Quite possible. Well, yeah, it's a good thing I keep a stack on hand. Here's one I prepared earlier. I must have miscounted or just forgot. Okay, that is done. And embellishments. So I am just using the shimmering dots for this one. So these are part of the suite. So I'm going to use both these green apple green ones and a couple of the did I use the small ones or the big ones? Small ones, I think. Let's go the small ones. Yes, smaller ones. The other ones are going to be a bit too big, I think, for this. Let's just go with those. That's good. And fold that over, and there is card number 1 done. Having said that, I am going to just trim this down a little bit more. It is bugging me. Just needs to be a little bit shorter. There we go. Now it's done. Alrighty, on to the second card. Let me find it, bring it back out. So this one. So this one is a Coastal Cabana card base, and then we have some of the DSP, got basic white, granny apple green, and there should, yes, there is a Spotlight on Nature die cut, some of the DSP, and yes, that is it for this one. So let's put those there. We'll get these down. base out of the way just in case. So do the Granny Apple green, and then that goes onto the base. This one's a nice easy layout. Very straightforward. You can step it up if you want to, or you can leave it as is. All right, so that part is done. So I'll put that to the side for the moment. We need to do some stamping and a tiny bit of ink blending, although I am doing the stamping first. So we are going to stamp in, I'm using Secret C as I did with the first one. Actually, I'm using it for, well, actually the final one only has the sentiment stamp, but I'm using Secret C. Memento Black works perfectly well as well, so either one is fine. So I'm going to stamp the leaves first and just make sure that's well inked up. Just move that slightly. So they're not going to stamp in full, and I want to make sure there's a wide enough gap at the bottom, so I don't want the really narrow gap at the bottom of the card. I want it to come down a bit further because it makes the next part a little bit easier. So then we bring in the large flower, and hopefully I positioned the leaves in a good spot, but so we want to get in between, and I think I've got a good spot. I can get in between nicely, and also without the flowers, the bottom ones, going over the leaves. So I'm happy with that, and then we will just, don't need to ink up the full one, so we're going to add a little bit around the side here, and actually probably needs that side one there, just a tiny bit around the side here. There we go. Alrighty. So move all of those out of the way, and I'll do the ink blending first. It doesn't matter too much. I've done it both ways. So we're just adding a very, very, very light layer of Pool Party. I'm not going over the whole card. I'm focusing on the areas that are not stamped because I don't want the Pool Party on the areas that I'm going to colour in a minute. But it is super light. You may not even see it on camera. But the reason I didn't do that first and then stamp is that I don't know where are the parts I don't want to stamp, sorry, don't want to blend without the stamping there. You could, you know, do some masking, but it's a bit more, because of the type of image, it's a little trickier. So, and I'm not super fussed if I get the tiniest amount on the images because it is going to be so light, but I do want to try and avoid it as much as possible, but getting in as close as I can. So I would definitely go with the small blending brushes for this. Don't use the large ones. And you can always use a dauber as well if that's easier, because I just want to try and just want to add a little bit of color. So there's going to be little bits that do go over into the stamped areas, but it should be light enough that the coloring is going to cover it up. So you may well not be able to see anything in terms of the color added, other than maybe tiny bits right at the edges, and that's okay. It is super, super light. And I'm barely touching the cardstock as I go in between here, because I really don't want much, and I won't get much, and it's just a little bit to take away from the sort of stark white. And I think that's probably enough. Tiny bit more down the bottom here. That will do, I think. As I keep adding more, there we go. That's enough. I will stop before I mess it up. Alrighty. Now we need to color, so I'm going with the same colors that I did earlier. The only one I'm not using is the white gel pen, but you absolutely could add that in if you wanted to, but because it's white cardstock, I figured not super necessary. So starting with the light lemon lime twist, and then coming back over with the Granny Apple Green in the light. So I'm doing exactly the same as I did on the first card. This one is just with larger leaves. Alright, and then we go with the dark, that's Granny Apple Green, and dark lemon lime twist. And I went over the edge a bit there. I'll fix that up. We'll try to in a minute. Although you can always just add embellishments to cover it up if you need to. Okay, that will do for that one, and we'll come in with the Pretty Peacock. I will just grab out the color lifter, get some of that in, let that dry and see how it looks. And where's my light lemon lime twist, because that's going to blend it all together. Oops, now that I messed up. Let's see if I can fix that up. If I can't fix it up well enough with the blends, with the color lifter, I will add extra embellishments. Could potentially go over it with the gel pen. I'm not quite sure how that would look. I haven't tried that one out yet for that purpose. Let's just blend this one in a bit more. Alrighty, let's see if we can try and fix that. I'll have to let it dry and see how it goes, but alright, we'll leave that for the moment, let that dry, see how it's looking, while we add a tiny bit of fresh freesia to the flowers. Probably should have used the bullet tip for the Pretty Peacock, because the brush tip on that one of mine is starting to get a bit worn, and then it doesn't color as neatly. We'll see how we go. And we'll just add some to these. Alrighty, how's that looking? Still see a bit of it, and it's still a bit wet, so that's going to, it's going to look, it will look worse while it's wet, and then once it dries it looks a lot better, but we will see how that goes. In the meantime, we shall add it to the Blackberry Bliss. Because I'm not going to redo that and make you sit and watch me recolor everything all over again. That would not be fun. No one wants that. Alrighty, let's get that down. Move my blends out of the way and bring this one in. So we need to do the sentiment, so I'm using Secrecy for this one. And where is my sentiment gone? There it is. And some extra cardstock that decided to come along for the ride. Okay, put that off to the side. It's getting there. It's looking better, but I'm still going to put an embellishment over that one. That is fine. I have plenty. Alright, so we will pop this one down in the center. Another option when you mess up your coloring a bit like that, depending on where it is, it may work perfectly well to have your sentiment sit over the top. So if you have if say your sentiment is like a banner piece, like the first card, depending on the layout, you may well decide that you were going to put it up there, but now you're going to put it down there, and it may well work. Not so much for this one, but that is an option that does work in many cases, and I have done that myself to cover up that sort of thing. I do need to try out if the gel pen would work. I have a feeling it may not, even though it's white. It may just look a bit odd because it will probably be a bit more noticeable than you would expect, because it's not going to be an exact match. But there will be circumstances where that sort of thing will work, and in that case you should absolutely do it. Alright, let's put the insert down. Okay, now embellishment. So I'm using the shimmering dots again, and also the in color butterflies, and I'm thinking one of these is probably going to work quite nicely to cover up my little stake, because it's a good spot. Let me just pick this up. I'm just want to make sure that even the lighter ones, yes, they will cover that. So what do you reckon? I might just, because I've used a couple of the small ones on the sentiment. So I've got a Barely Blush and a clear one. So go with one of the big ones, and you can see the the color lifter has dried. It's still slightly visible. It's possibly more visible to me because I know it's there, but you easily could add a bit more, let it dry, see how it goes. But we will add, what do you reckon? I might go with this one and see how that looks, and we may just, add some more to make it look somewhat intentional. Let's go with a small one down there. And actually I'm just going to just shuffle them across ever so slightly. and then maybe I'm going to put a small one up top there, so going a bit over the top with embellishments on this one, but why not? So then we'll add some of the shimmering dots in. Another one up the top there. And fold that over, and there we go. There is the second one done. Alrighty, on to the last one. Let me just bring that last one back out. Oops, oh yes, there's my extra pieces. So this one is a nice easy one. It's very good when you need cards in a hurry. So Blackberry Bliss card base, we've got some pretty peacock, that is for later. I've got some DSP and some more DSP, more Blackberry Bliss, and a piece for the sentiment. Alrighty, let's start putting this together. So DSP onto the pretty peacock cardstock. And then we'll put that down. On the card base. Alrighty, then we put the next piece on the perennial postage die cut. And we get that one down. And then that goes in the center. Okay, then all we need to do, we will stamp our sentiment, this time in Blackberry Bliss. And I'm going over to the right hand side for this one. And I need, I forgot to get it out earlier, a dollar. So where is my pretty peacock one? Should have got this out earlier. There we go. Alrighty, so get the 3-band punch back out. and get this in. Bearing in mind this piece is quite a bit wider than the punch, so just be careful when sort of lining up and trying to get the point centered, but and that's not quite right, but it doesn't have to be perfect, just a little better than that one. Let me try that again. And for that reason, it's always good to give yourself a bit of room to move. Oh, and I mangled that, but it is better in the height, so we'll just trim that off. Go, that will do. And then we need, so I'm using the Berry Burst shiny ribbon. Just need a little bit of this. It's just going to sit a little bit to sit behind. So about there, if I can get it, if I can cut properly. Let's straighten that up. That's better. Alrighty, so that's just going to sit behind. Now, a couple ways you can stick this down. You can either just add a bit of sort of regular adhesive, or you can just put it down, put a dimensional over the top. I'm not great at doing it that way, so I'm putting a glue dot down, and I do want to bring it up ever so slightly, and the glue dot stuck to the cardstock, which is actually perfect because I want to move the ribbon up ever so slightly. There we go. And I will need to actually trim one bit of ribbon to go the other way, and hopefully I don't have to adjust too much. There we go. And I'm actually going to stick another glue dot in between to hold the two pieces together. Where did my glue dot go? It just went flying somewhere. I will find it in a spot where I really don't want it. So let's try that again. So I'm just going to whack. Oh, there it is. There's that glue dot. Let's put that. We may as well just whack that down. Give it some extra adhesive. Then I'll line the ends up and just adjust, and I can press that down, so that's all good. And then mark some dimensionals over the top. Oh, I forgot. I did get the dauber out for a reason. All right, so we're gonna have to, let's just fold that around slightly. Let's see how much ink I've still got on my dauber. So we just want to add a little bit of ink to all the edges. And let's just pull this one back the other way. Don't need heaps, we just want to give a little bit of colour to the edge. And I think that's probably about enough. We don't need heaps, just a bit. All right, I think that will do. Then we can take all these dimensional backings off. And this one is going over the edge. And that will sit nicely there. And then, so again, I'm using the shimmering dots, but I'm also using for this one, and these are, well, I don't know if they're still on the last chance list or if they've gone, but the brushed brass butterflies, these were around for a long time. So I'm just going to use a couple of these. And then bring in the other shimmering dots. And we'll go another one down the bottom here. Oh, we need to add the insert, of course. Now I forgot. And is my runner going to last? Maybe. Just. Prefer a bit more in the corners, but that will be fine. Let's get this one down. And flip that one over, and there we go. That is the third one done. Alrighty, let me bring all of these back in. So we have that one. Where's my other one gone? Where did the first one go? There it is. Alrighty, so these are the 3 cards from this week's class. Remember, you have until the end of Saturday night to get your orders in. So $75 before shipping and after any Stampin' Rewards redemption. And I'll send you out the kits for to make 2 each of the 3 cards. So thank you so much for joining me. Now, next week I am using so I'm going with another, not using a Stampin' Die or Punch bundle. I'm using another DSP pack as the featured product. So the Artisan Sketched Garden Designer Series paper, that is going to be the featured product for next week. But until then, thank you so much for joining me. If you are watching on YouTube and you want to see more of my videos and you want reminders, please remember to like and subscribe. But until next time, have fun and happy crafting.